Hi,
Art,
Robin.
yes.
I hope English is all right.
Yes.
I was just wanting to ask about your kind of journey into coaching. And,
Okay.
I was reading a few interviews you did a few years ago, and you mentioned when you were a player, you used to list pros and cons for yourself.
Yeah.
And I was just wondering, was that attention to detail that early something that made going into coaching natural for you, or was it something you had to really think about and work at?
Yeah, as a player, I did that because I realized that I wasn't as good as most of my colleagues. So I think, okay, I have to make that up. I have to sort of, how do you say that? I have to, get that difference with those top players smaller. And I just realized by just writing all those points down that I wasn't the quickest. So I had to be more clever. I had to do something about my dummy runs. And while I was sort of writing that down, I realized that I wasn't completely 100% honest in what I wrote down. So so after that, I kept writing, and then I came sort of a lot of points came clear to me that that I still had to improve on to become on the level of Bergkamp, of Henry, and I'm not sure if I ever reached that kind of level, but it just made me realize that I had to improve, and it sort of created a development urgency in my system, which every player needs to have, and every coach needs to have as well. It's like every day you should be open. Every day should be a day where you're improving and where you're getting better. And so once that really was inserted in my system, from that moment I really started to become better, and that never really stopped, because for my own feeling, I was never at that level where I wanted to be, and maybe that was a big reason why I arrived at a certain level. And that same development urgency I have as a coach. It's like I just want that feeling every single day that I leave the training ground realizing that I'm a little bit better than I was early in the morning. And that feeling I have is just I'm learning every day, and in a very fast way. In the last few years, if you look back at my coaching career, every day I had the feeling that I became a little bit better. And this is the only way to improve and the only way to achieve your goals.
In terms of that development in your coaching, is there anything that kind of stands out in your memory of a day where you remember, okay, I made that step forward on this day? Is there anything that kind of stands out to you?
In my journey as a coach, you mean? Yeah, that was, let me see, the beginning of last season when we had a youth league game against Celtic at home. That was the first youth league game, Champions League, but then for youth players and with the under-19s. And that moment I realized, like, okay, this is becoming really close to first team football. And in terms of how we prepped the game, in terms of how we dealt with the game. And I was like, oh, this feels really good. This came really close to the feeling I had while I was playing in top games. I was like, oh, when you don't really know what's going to happen, when you have to make the sort of right calls at the right time. And then I thought, okay, this is what I want. You know, I want to go forward with this, and I want to be the best possible version I can be as a coach. And I'm going for it all in.
We have 3 minutes left. Yes, one question for you, and then we go back to the front.
A lot of coaches in Europe, in Champions League, said multiple times that it's very tough playing against the Simone Inzaghi system in terms of offensive way and defensive way.
Yes.
Do you agree?
Yes.
Are you studying Simone Inzaghi? Do you think that he's growing to the top level in European coaches?
Yeah, because if you look at the top teams, they defend really well and they attack really well, and Inter Milan does both. It is really difficult to score against Inter, and it is really like a big challenge for us to not give away spaces, because they vary with their positions a lot. It's like in their build-up they go everywhere, which is a strength, but it could be a weakness as well. So we have to exploit the weakness there, and this is the gray area. This is the area where we can really create something, or Inter can really hurt us. So it's a really thin line we are all balancing on. I think Inter is balancing on a very thin line, but we are balancing on that thin line too. And this is what I personally and my players really like. Is it like this is what we dream of? This is the highest level against a top team. From all our roles, we can compete against the absolute elite players and coaches. So it is a massive challenge for us as a club, for us as players, and for me as coach as well with my staff. And I can sense it already in the last few days. Everyone is on top of their game, and I mean the whole building. It's like 1908 where we have our training sessions. It's like you can see it with the staff. Everyone is sharp and everyone is ready because we know we have to.
Yes, Willem, ga je gang.
Robin, goedemiddag.
Goedemiddag.